Hey,
We've made it happen. How are you?
good man. How are you?
I'm doing okay. We're here in Detroit, halfway through the summertime, and I guess you guys have a lot of things going on. You have a lot of things going on, don't you?
Yeah, man. I'm actually here in Chicago, so there's a lot of things going on, both in music, being quarantined, politically. It's just a crazy time right now.
Yeah, and I saw your hockey team just won.
Yes, yeah, they did. They did.
Are you a hockey fan at all?
You know, I grew up in Akron, Ohio, so we didn't really have too much hockey. So, but living in Chicago, it's kind of hard not to be, a Blackhawks fan. I know, and it's probably not the best thing to say on a Detroit station, but like I said, I'm not really a massive hockey fan anyway because I didn't grow up that way. It was more of like football and basketball and baseball.
Yeah. So when did you move? Now is that where you're kind of based out of now? Is Chicago? When did you get there?
Yeah, I've been here for about 5 years. I don't know if it's permanent, but I'm liking it now. I was loving it because, all the chef-driven restaurants and everything here, which I can't enjoy now. But
Right.
but I love it. I love being by the lake, and it's a great city.
Yeah, for those that have never been there, Chicago. I'm not a huge city guy, but Chicago is amazing. That downtown area is unbelievable.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of cities are older, so they're more congested. Like it's definitely a Midwest city, so it's a little more spread out, which is nice.
Yeah, I've seen some concerts there. I saw Godsmack and Metallica. I saw a couple hockey games there and stuff, but it's just a great city. So for people that are joining us here, Mike from The Violence is on the line with us here. Now, okay, just give us a brief history of where The Violent came from for those people that are joining us right now, because it's like you guys were Red Sun Rising, and then that kind of faltered, and you guys actually, I think it was the end of February this year, you guys kind of announced a hiatus, right?
Yeah, me or myself, Pat and Dave, who are also in The Violent, were members of Red Sun Rising as well. And, it was kind of one of those things with Red Sun Rising. It kind of felt like the end of a chapter. A lot of the guys wanted, different things, which happens and even in relationships, but it definitely happens in bands. And, it felt like the right time to close that chapter. And ironically, it was right before, we had a pandemic. So right at the, end of the year, Pat, Dave, and I went down to Nashville. We started, laying out what songs we wanted to use for The Violent. And I had a bunch of songs just that I've been writing for years. And I was like, well, we've never looked at any of these. Let's check these out. And they all kind of just made sense. So we started working on them. And then the pandemic happened. And we're like, oh, shit, what do we do now? Because it's like we can't even be together. We live in 3 different states. And so we had to kind of make some, pivot and make some adjustments and make some investments in home recording gear. And once we did that, it was like fuel on the fire. Because it's like now we're all home. We can all record at home. And it's like, what else are we going to do? We have no excuse not to finish songs.
Yeah, I just kind of chuckled a little bit when you said that, relationships are hard enough, let alone be bands, because people tend to forget that, you guys have to travel with each other, hang out with each other, and sometimes things don't go according to plan. I mean, we could think of 30 bands off the top of our head right now that have broken up for whatever different reasons. And,
right.
And that's just kind of the nature of the beast right there. So you guys now, are all you guys in Chicago now, or are you still kind of separated?
No, we're still separate. I'm here, and Pat is in just outside of Albany, New York, and Dave is in Bradford, PA, which is like right over the New York state line. So yes, 3 different states, and then our producer that we're working with is in Nashville. So we've just been the cool thing about this quarantine is like it's kind of brought to light a lot of like tech advancements, like the fact that we're sharing session files in real time now and recording remotely. You couldn't do that 5 years ago, but this like put everything like that in hyperdrive, which I guess that's the silver lining of all this.
Yeah, well, we couldn't do this 5 years ago, or at least nobody did. I've done more of these interviews, I mean, in the last 4 or 5 months than ever. And
what do you think
funny,
about
what's that?
What do you think about doing these things? Like, do you like it?
I think it's kind of cool because it gives you a different side of the artist. And a lot of times I'm on the phone, or people can't see us do an interview on the radio if you're live at a venue or something like that. So I think personally, for the fans, this is really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a different, and I think there's certain things like this that will stick around. It might not be, as much as we're doing it now, but I think some of this will stick around.
Well, I've talked to some of my friends in bands and done these interviews before, and they're like, I don't know why we weren't doing this before the pandemic.
You're right.
But it's funny you say that the advance of technology, because everybody's like, oh, these poor kids, they're stuck at home. And so I'm like, stuck at home, they got like 8 billion things they can do. When I was stuck at home as a kid, we didn't have any of this stuff.
Yeah, I was like, go in the woods, go cut down a tree or something.
go play with a stick.
Yeah, seriously.
So, I mean, but it is, it's kind of cool. It kind of forces some of the bands and the musicians and whatnot to kind of reinvent a little bit of things they're doing. Like, for example, Stone Temple Pilots is doing that live thing coming up, and it gives the fans an extra chance to see that. And I read a thing that was kind of interesting the other day, and you said you haven't been able to really go, to the restaurants or whatnot, but they say that when this thing ends, you're going to see a newfound thankfulness from some of these restaurants and maybe even bands or venues or whatever. It's like where sometimes you'd walk in and the hostess would be, kind of blow you off or something, but now they're like, come on in,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is America, so we'll see how long that lasts when everyone is like super thankful that you're there. But yeah, it's I agree, and not to mention that, like in the music business, I know we're not the only band and the only musician that's stuck at home writing. So I can't wait. I'm sure you've talked to other musicians talking about this as well, but I can't wait for like 6 months. It's like a baby boomers for albums. Like,
yeah,
it should be.
It should be. I'm wondering, like, because there for a little while nobody was really releasing anything, and then like this week, there's a new Manson song and a new Corey Taylor's, and it's like guys are starting to come out with stuff now.
Yeah, because it's like, what else are you going to do? It's like usually a guy like Corey Taylor, he might be too busy. He's got 2 bands, and it's like, well, what do I do now? I'm not going to go on tour with either one of these bands right now because I can't.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Let's do a solo record, and I think that's smart, and it's like another release. And I think a lot of musicians would do that if they had the time, but it's always like on to the next thing, and which is good to be that busy. But it's kind of nice to have a little bit of reset and a time to step back and be like, what else can I do?
Yeah, like I said, it forces people to reinvent themselves, and it's like, look, you're in a young band, kind of younger in the industry, and I'm sure you guys don't have the bankroll that some of these bigger bands have.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I really worry about like the crew guys, because those guys, they probably live paycheck to paycheck, and they're just wondering how they're going to get another paycheck coming in here. Yeah,
man, that's tough. I mean, just watching everybody I know from the industry, like people that we've worked with, guys that were working for really big bands, like they're feeling it too. It's like that was and not only the financial part, but that's their livelihood, that's their life. There's like a whole subculture. I see Kevin Doherty. He was one of our guys for a long time. He's on here. He said that's me.
Yeah.
But it's like guys like that's their livelihood. They travel. They're constantly in different cities. That's their whole life. And then you're just like, okay, now you're going to stay in this one spot, not make any money, and not do what you love. It's tough.
It is tough. So well, here's I want to ask you this question. So when I say we're talking with Mike from the Violent, do I say formally Red Sun Rising, or is this like, I mean, how do I approach that?
I mean, yeah, Red Sun Rising was a big part of my life. I wrote a lot of songs with Red Sun Rising, and I sang every song. So it's always going to be a part of my life, and I'm super proud of everything I did with Red Sun Rising. It's not like I want to like erase the past. That's a fact. I was in that band, and I loved it. I was one of the founding members of that band. But this is just what we're focused on now. So yeah, of course, you could always say formally of Red Sun Rising, because that's a fact.
So one of the things that always struck me about Red Sun Rising was like the harmonies and stuff. Where does that come from you? What kind of bands or influences?
Man, when I was a kid, like classic rock was huge in my house. That and the Beatles, of course.
I was just going to say the Beatles. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, the Beatles, especially, for songwriting and harmonies, the Beatles were just like my number one. That and the Beach Boys as well, actually. But the Beatles really got it. But like when I was a kid, like even bands like Steve Miller Band had really cool harmonies, and like Aerosmith was huge in my house. So like I grew up with those like bigger vocal harmony type music, and so it's just like I naturally want to hear that always. Like even if it's a heavy or a darker rock song, I want to like throw in that Beatles influence and put get creative with the harmonies. I just like love crafting that part of it.
So you just said you just talked about like the darkness and stuff. So I heard you in an interview before their sister station from New Jersey talking about how the band called The Violent is like it's kind of like your release of dark ideas. And of course, writing music to a lot of people is therapeutic. We've talked to a billion bands that have said the same thing. So kind of talk a little bit about that for the people that maybe didn't see it earlier interview.
Yeah, I mean. I'm a pretty positive guy. If you've ever met me or know me in person, and I like to joke around, but it's like I take my art very seriously because I have to. It's like if you listen to my lyrics, they're a lot of times they are dark, and they're me reminiscing on events in my life that didn't go so well, and so it's like I need that medium, which is the violent, to get rid of that, because I don't know what would happen if I just like held it inside and let it manifest, which some people do, and that creates serious issues. And we've seen all the mental health things over the last 5 years that have popped up, and making aware of that. It's just I need it. So the violent just kind of represented those ideas and releasing those ideas. So, and as Tom Waits, this is one of my favorite quotes about music ever, but Tom Waits always said, I enjoy beautiful melodies telling me terrible things. And I always think about that when I'm writing music, because I love melody and I love to make the song beautiful, and I love to make sure the melody is strong. But the lyrics don't always need to be happy. You can kind of the juxtaposition of those two, the light and the dark, is what draws me to music.
I never heard that before. It's funny as you mentioned. I was thinking about like, for example, like a Nine Inch Nails. Sometimes Trent Reznor will be in the background screaming over something that's so melodic on the other side.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, so that's cool. Now, do you have your guitar or anything with you, or?
I do. Yeah, I'm just like in my room. I'm just chilling here.
Can you play Fly in the Wall for us or no?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Let me pop these headphones out because it'll probably sound better.
Okay. What's that shirt you got on? What's that say?
That's my Soundgarden shirt.
Oh.
I've had this for so long, as you can tell. It's like almost the print's almost gone on it. But another one of my.
You had that last show.
Oh my God! And I didn't even think about that. I just put this on, but yeah, Detroit. So Detroit's always been like when you think rock and roll, you think Detroit is always in there. And, it's just, he was one of my biggest influences. Chris Cornell was one of my biggest influences ever. And in so many ways, as a lyricist, a musician, a singer. But yeah.
Did you ever have a chance to meet him?
I never got to meet him, but I did get to see his solo tour.
Okay.
Really close. So that was almost cooler than seeing Soundgarden, honestly, for me. Just to see him there with an acoustic guitar, just doing his thing. That was awesome.
Yeah. So you're gonna play Fly in the Wall here for us?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
The quarantine room version. I got a secret, come and take a look inside of it. me. Got a secret, gotta tell someone, come share it with me. Can't keep it all locked up inside of me. Like see the secret through my teeth is coming to me. Burning up about it, come and step inside it with me. Got a secret and I gotta fucking tell somebody. Burning up about the way it makes me feel. Whatever makes you feel more alone than you've ever felt in your life. Whatever hurts you when it's so bad your heart can't take it. Whatever makes you feel more alone than you've ever felt in your life. Whatever hurts you when it's so bad your heart can't take it. Would you tell it now? The more I think about it, I can't even vouch for it. I never heard it, so I thought my mind was playing again. Play the victim, get defensive, just remembering it. Got a secret, come and take a look inside it with me. Got a secret, gotta tell someone to share it with me. Got a secret and I gotta fucking tell somebody. Burning up about the way it makes me feel. Whatever makes you feel more alone than you've ever felt in your life. Whatever hurts you when it's so bad your heart can't take it. Whatever makes you feel more alone than you've ever felt in your life. Whatever hurts you when it's so bad your heart can't take it. How is this make you feel it? 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 Oh, how is this make you feel it? How is this make you feel it? Whatever makes you feel more alone than you've ever felt in your life. Whatever hurts you when it's so bad your heart can't take it. Whatever makes you feel more alone than you've ever felt in your life. Whatever hurts you when it's so bad your heart can't take it. How is this make you feel it? How is this make you feel it? How is this make you feel it? Would you tell it now? Would you tell it now?
And the crowd goes wild. There you go. Now,
That's as real as it gets, man, just in the bedroom.
that's right. So that song is kind of like Fly on the Wall when you guys were like kind of, putting the band together. Is that right?
Yeah. The whole idea behind the Fly on the Wall was kind of like, we started doing this, talking about this project in secrecy in a way, not to keep it from the other members or anything. It was just kind of like, yeah, this might be a fun thing we can just kind of do on the side. But then, when we realized that, Red Sun Rising was maybe on its last chapter, if you will, it came to fruition. And, there's like that psychiatric study, the Pygmalion effect, which we actually wrote the song Death Wish about, Red Sun Rising. But it's the idea that if you believe something's going to happen and you focus on it, your actions subconsciously start to make that happen. So I don't know if that is why or not, but the whole Fly on the Wall is like, how many people realized that was going to happen and didn't say anything, or we had mentioned it to and didn't say anything, and here we are. We're the Violent.
So you're saying if I thought enough about like dating Jennifer Aniston, I could do it?
Closer. I don't know if you'll get all the way there, but I believe, man, you're a handsome guy, and you never know.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. But that's probably never going to happen. So what's going on in the future with you guys? Like, what's coming up in your future? I mean, it's kind of I don't know. What do you got going on?
Like right now, we're just finishing these songs, and we've gotten a few done now, and there's no plan of like an album or anything. It was just kind of like when the songs are done, we're just going to release them and just keep releasing music. And following me.
Oh yeah.
I think you'll see another song here in the next month, and then hopefully we can just get on a consistent like release pattern and just keep it coming. And we're really happy with the way it's turning out, and taking it song by song like this has been so rewarding as a musician, because you're not like overwhelmed by, we got to get all these 11 songs. We're like, let's just do this song, and then let's just do this song. And we've been exploring our homes as far as like what kind of sounds we can get. Like I've been doing vocals in the closet and tracking acoustic guitar in the bathroom, but like that's all on the record, and I think it's all on these songs, and I think it's like kind of telling the story of this pandemic and the way we had to record it, which I think is cool in itself.
Let me give a plug out just real fast here. Sailor Jerry Rum and Don Paul to try to help us with these virtual rock rooms. You talk about like recording in closets and stuff like that. That's not much out of the realm of possibility for what some bands have done. You've heard like, the guys from Led Zeppelin recording the drums doing levee breaks on a stairway or something. It's like that's kind of cool things like that. What's his name? Ed from Collective Soul told me one time that part in the song Shine, he did through a toilet paper roll. It's like there's all these kind of things that people do that the fans might not even know about.
Yeah, and I love hearing those kind of stories. Like even Abbey Road, if you crank up Abbey Road like on a vinyl, you can hear like little whooshes going by because they were close to the street. So you can hear like literally cars going by outside, which is like, I love stuff like that.
Yeah, the second side of Abbey Road, by the way, might be one of the best second sides of any album.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. You talked earlier about growing up with a lot of classic rock. I discovered the Beatles when John Lennon was killed. Were your parents like big into music or what?
My mom was definitely more into music. My dad was just like typical, like I'll put on the rock station and just let it roll. But my mom was always like listening to new stuff, anywhere from pop to like Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin, like in my house. And we always had a piano, and I remember this as a kid. It's like my mom would clean the house on Saturdays, like every Saturday. She would just clean the house all morning, and then she'd sit down and play the piano for 2 hours. That was like her reward for cleaning the whole house. And I think just from a young age, like there's so many like home videos of me and my sister just like banging on the keys, and I think we slowly started to like just kind of pluck at them, and then it just kind of stemmed from there. And when I told my mom when I was like 10, I was like, I want a guitar. She was like thrilled about it, got me a guitar, surprised me with a guitar for Christmas, and then I got to go see Eric Clapton actually.
Really?
I had to have a black and white Strat because I loved Eric Clapton when I was like 10.
Man, I've never seen Eric Clapton before live, to be honest with you. So then you join or you start Red Sun Rising. The band starts to gain some success and stuff. Your parents go see you locally and stuff. What do they think about that?
Yeah, my mom's just always been so proud. Unfortunately, my dad wasn't really around for much of any of that. But my mom was always there, and she was always, encouraging me to keep going. And, if she could come, she would drive hours to come, watch, even when we were like in the grungiest, terrible venues. She would be there, and it'd just be so funny because it's so out of place. Like she just got off work in like her like nice little blazer, and she's like in the crowd. There's all these beer drinking dudes just hooting and hollering, but it was fun. And but yeah, man, it's just crazy to look back now and like how long I've actually been playing shows. It's just crazy.
Did you say earlier that you kind of grew up near Akron?
Yeah, Akron, Ohio.
Yeah, I saw John Five there a couple of years ago on my birthday, and at this, you just remember, you like sparked my idea. This small little club and stuff. It was so cool. And I went there on my birthday and stayed at a hotel down there just to go see John Five. So
I wonder if it was it Ripper Owens' place?
no, if you said the name of it, I would know it, but it wasn't Ripper's place.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, Ripper's quite a character. You met him a few times.
Oh yeah, I've known him for a long time. Yeah, I used to work at Guitar Center like when I was younger and was playing in bands and it was like the perfect like job for a musician because they didn't care if you had a gig that night or whatever. But he would always come. We started talking to him and we finally got to headline this like local festival called Rock on the River in Akron, and he's like, I'll come up and sing a couple songs if you guys can learn them. So we learned some Judas Priest songs, and he came up and sang like 3 songs with us. But it was
it his Judas Priest or was it Rob Halford's?
What did we did like Breaking the Law and I forget what we did. We did 3 total, I think. But I don't remember exactly. That was
That's cool.
It's probably on YouTube somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never had a chance to meet Ripper. I've interviewed him a few times. Man, you get him on the subject, and he will go off on it.
Yeah, for sure.
But what other bands? I mean, Black Keys. Those are guys from Akron too, right?
Yeah. Black Keys, Devo, Chrissy Hine. Like, there's been some decent stuff coming out of there.
Yeah, it's a cool little part of the country. So, well, listen, man, I'll let you go here. The Violence, of course, flying the wall. Thanks so much for the time and good luck. And maybe we'll see you here on stage somewhere near us.
Man, I hope so. Thanks for all the support, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. How much you missing the stage, by the way?
Oh man, every day it sucks. Like it's that's like a part of me. Like I said with the crew guys, it's just as much the musicians. Like it's just a part of you. You have to get that out. So I'm preparing for the worst. I'm preparing to not play a show till 2021, but I'm hoping for the best.
Well, I'm thinking about Jennifer Aniston. I'm going to try to use that method you were talking about.
Focus.
Hey, thanks so much, Mike. Good luck to you. Thanks for the time.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
See you, brother.